title. I honestly say this, and I honestly think this. I think Chris is more valuable to the Mr. Olympia than the Mr. Olympia is to Chris. We really have to, point out the star power that Chris Bumstead has. I mean, this guy on Instagram alone has 16.4 million followers. That's more than any active IFBB pro that you can point out. To put that in perspective, that's only 7 million less followers than Arnold Schwarzenegger. Big Ramy has less than 5 million followers, so Chris has way more than that. And your current Mr. Olympia, Hadi Chupin, has 3.9 million followers, so Chris has 4 times the following that Hadi Chupin has. And I just point this out to say I'm so fascinated to see what the future holds for Chris Bumstead, because I think he's really the first guy in a very long time to outgrow the Olympia title. I honestly say this, and I honestly think this. I think Chris is more valuable to the Mr. Olympia than the Mr. Olympia is to Chris. I think it's more valuable for Chris to show up to the Olympia and compete to the Olympia than it is for Chris to win that title for him. Because at this point, Chris would continue to be Chris Bumstead whether or not he competes, whether or not he wins another title. People will still watch, people will still follow. He's still going to be Cbum. But I think if Chris doesn't compete in the classic physique Olympia, even with Ramondino, even with Urs Kausinski, even with some of these bigger names, I think the prestige of that competition, if Chris Bumstead retires today and doesn't come back at the Olympia this year, it drops significantly. But I think if Chris doesn't compete and doesn't come back this year, I don't really think it hurts him much at all. And it's just interesting to observe these moves that he's making, because we haven't really seen something like this from a top IFBB pro in a very long time. And again, I would say maybe since Arnold have we seen a guy really transcend bodybuilding, transcend competing, and Chris is really doing that whether he realizes it or not. He is like the biggest factor in bodybuilding right now, and he's not even a bodybuilder. He's classic physique, technically. I didn't mean to say he's not a bodybuilder. You guys know what I mean. He's not an open bodybuilder. He's a classic physique bodybuilder. But what do you guys make of this? And my question to you guys is, what do you think the future holds for a guy like Chris Bumstead? Is he a guy that's going to be in movies? Is he a guy that's going to be in TV shows? Is he just going to be a massive social media influencer? Because realistically, how many more years is he going to continue to fend off Ramondino, Urs Kausinski? You could still talk about Terrence Ruffin. How many years is he going to continue to win the title? 5 more? And he's only going to be in his early 30s? If he wins 5 more titles, he would be 9-time champ. And he would still be like 34, 33 by the time it's over and have his whole career ahead of him. So what do you guys think the future holds for Chris Bumstead?